How easy is it to change yourself in your life? Get working recipes. How to transform. How to improve your health. Alone and with a trainer. To become the star of the beach. This instruction manual to get a practical result on the channel Fresh Life 28.
Hello everyone, this is Basilio, and you're on a channel all about starting a new life on Monday and not giving up by Tuesday. If you're interested about who I am and what this vlog is all about, you can check it out here. This is my second video, and today, we're finally diving into some concrete recommendations. Today we're talking about nutrition and the myths that get in the way of achieving our goals. Before we get started, I want to say up front that you might have doubts about what I'm saying. There's more than enough informational noise in the fields of fitness, nutrition, and healthy living, possibly even more than in politics. I don't know of any other field so packed with myths, empty promises, and confusing methods. In the next video, I will explain in detail where such a crazy amount of contradictory information comes from, why there will always be positive reviews for any method, and why you can find any recommendations, even if they don't work in practice, regarding your issue and to your taste, no matter what you are looking for. In the first video, I explained that nutrition is the most important factor, accounting for 75 to 90% of our success in achieving our goals. And no workout, techniques, or pills can compensate for bad nutrition. And no matter what goal we have, we must always start with nutrition before heading to the gym to lift dumbbells and barbells. Good news, for those just looking to lose weight, you might not need the gym at all. So, let's get started as soon as possible. Nutrition is essentially three things: how we eat, how much we eat, and what we eat. Every moment is very important here. We'll start with the first point: how we eat and what it influences. I want to introduce you to the sacred cow of all those who care about their appearance and health. Please remember that there is no solution to any problem without this. From the simplest task of losing weight by summer to the more complex challenge of building impressive muscle for competitions, no task can be solved without increasing the metabolic rate. Remember this word, you'll come across it very often: metabolism. It's also known as the rate of metabolic exchange, or in slang, exchange. This is the sacred cow for all bodybuilders, those trying to lose weight for summer, and simply people who want to boost their energy and prolong their youth. In our bodies, from birth to death, two processes continuously occur: anabolic and catabolic. The first builds our tissues, and the second destroys them. The speed at which these processes occur in the body is determined by metabolism. Our hated fat also cannot disappear, dissolve, splash out, and shake out. It can only be spent on the needs of the body. And the speed at which you will lose weight will determine your metabolic rate. Similarly, when you're building your body, how quickly you gain muscle mass and recover will also depend on that same notorious metabolism. With a low metabolic rate, a person generally becomes sleepy, sluggish, and slow. He gains fat, loses it very slowly, struggles to build muscle, and has no energy to train. Therefore, in 95% of cases, the goal for an average person who wants to change their appearance is to boost their metabolism. So, what slows it down? Age, alcohol, infrequent meals, skipping breakfast, eating 2 to 3 times a day, and having a heavy dinner. What can help boost our metabolism? Exactly, the way we eat. Grab a red marker. And write down another extremely important point. There is no better way to accelerate metabolism than fractional nutrition. This is nutrition in approximately equal portions, no less than once every 3 hours. When I lost 66 pounds in 4 months, I was eating 5 or 6 times a day, every day. Is it difficult? It seems like it would take a lot of time. Not at all. It's not just easy, it's very easy. In the next video, I will share ways to make this process automatic. Now, I promise you the following things: time savings, an increase in energy by the end of the first week, and if your goal is to lose weight, then weight loss as well. The key is to get things off the ground, and you believe that a new life, started correctly, bears fruit immediately, and you will no longer want to give it up. Time savings? You must think I'm crazy. Well, let's grab a stopwatch, a calculator, and do the math. So, this is my standard portion of food. I weigh about 220 pounds at a height of 67 inches, and I eat every 2 hours. Let's say you'll need to eat every 3 hours at first. First, let's time how long it takes to eat this container. Sorry for depriving you of the pleasure of watching me chew, but I finished this container in 4 minutes. If you have your first meal at 8 a.m. and then eat every 3 hours until 8 p.m., that gives you about 5 meals. Result, 20 minutes a day. Well, taking the container out and putting it back takes another 10 minutes. That's a total of minus 30 minutes. Now consider how much time a standard 3-meal-a-day routine takes when you're not bringing food with you, but instead eating business lunches at a cafe. I once timed it, and just going down to the cafe, ordering or putting together a tray of food, waiting for them to bring and take things away, paying and eating, it already took 40 minutes. And that's not even counting coffee, breakfast, or dinner. Trust me, I have a basis for comparison. Bringing your own food saves a lot of time. So, to sum up, the main rule is to eat every 3 hours. That's our approach to eating. It helps to speed up our metabolism. The faster it is, the easier it is for us to lose weight. Metabolism slows down with age due to alcohol consumption and a sedentary lifestyle. One of the main goals is to speed up metabolism. This is to use fractional nutrition. But is it enough to just eat cakes and burgers in small portions to stick to this plan and lose weight? Of course not. Frequent small meals help to boost our metabolism. That's true. These processes need to start utilizing our excess fat reserves as an energy source. This is only possible when the energy derived from external food sources is insufficient. It is customary to calculate the norms obtained from food in kilocalories. When we need to lose weight, we must consume fewer calories than our body expends. This is known as a caloric deficit. By the way, for the body to start building muscle, a diametrically opposed nutritional situation is required. We need to consume more calories from food than we expend. Along with building muscle, a small percentage of fat will inevitably be gained. In reality, gaining muscle is significantly more challenging than losing fat, and I will discuss this in detail later. Here's what's important to understand right now. The exact opposite requirements for caloric intake prevent you from losing fat and building muscle at the same time. You can either do one or the other. So why do we eat every 3 hours? Let's just tape our mouths shut. However, anyone who has tried following barbaric low-carbohydrate diets knows that after a couple of days, a person starts to feel sluggish, loses their appetite, and the weight hardly drops. But then, after the diet, it comes back very quickly and often more than before. So what's the matter? The thing is, the body expends energy for everything. For breathing, for the heart's work, for maintaining body temperature, everything. The amount of energy produced by our body is precisely defined by metabolism. By the way, the body really doesn't like a caloric deficit. It doesn't know it's the 21st century, and we no longer need to hunt down mammoths. So it stores fat as a precaution, just in case, taking care of us for potential times of famine. And as soon as it senses a calorie deficit, it reluctantly begins to release its reserves. From the body's point of view, this is a threat to survival. It's like an alarm going off. We're being robbed. So it tries to reduce calorie usage to make them last. How? Quite simply, by slowing down the metabolism. It's much like a computer's power-saving mode. Right now, we're low on energy. What can we do without? Digestive system. Shut it down. Physical activity. Make him walk around drowsy. And other similar things. It's a whole different story with fractional eating. Hunger, essentially, is our blood glucose level. When we're constantly fueling the body with small amounts, we don't let blood sugar drop low, enough for our body to panic, identify it as a survival threat, and switch on power-saving mode. Thus, we need to eat every 3 hours to prevent our metabolism from slowing down and to keep our calorie intake just slightly below what our body typically expends. Just slightly below. Not by much, because as soon as we start to starve too much, glucose levels drop, triggering energy-saving mode, which immediately halts metabolism and weight loss. That's why it's impossible to lose weight quickly. So, to summarize, in order to lose weight, we need to consume slightly fewer calories than our body typically expenses. To build muscle, we need to consume more calories than we burn. That's why it's impossible to combine fat loss with muscle gain. It's either one or the other. The higher our metabolism, the more energy our body expends. The blood glucose level determines our feelings of hunger or fullness and the relative calmness of our body. If we tape our mouths shut, nothing good will come of it. The glucose level will drop so low that the body will perceive this as a time of famine and will immediately slow down metabolism to conserve energy, which is why you can't lose weight too quickly. You might think, that's all there is to it. Let's just eat one candy or one pastry every 3 hours and we'll lose weight. No, that's not all, and we now move on to the final point. What do we eat? Essentially, everything we eat can be viewed as proteins, building materials, carbohydrates, our energy reserves, and fats, energy-dense auxiliary material, storage. This, along with the caloric content of products, is what you can see on the packaging of any food item labeled as PFC, proteins, fats, carbohydrates. Although every product contains proteins, fats, and carbohydrates in varying proportions, it is more than sufficient for us to focus on the main components. So what are proteins? They include lean meats, chicken breast, turkey, beef, 0% fat cottage cheese, egg whites without yolks, and fish. Carbohydrates consist of almost all grains: oatmeal, rice, buckwheat, everything sweet, everything flour-based, and of course, sugar. Fats are indeed fats. They include all fatty foods, oils, animal fats, plant fats, lard, and similar products. So, what and how should we eat? Let's start with the key element: carbohydrates. We just talked about glucose. In addition to determining whether we are hungry or not, and triggering expenditure or power-saving modes, it directly affects the production of our hormone, insulin. The fact is that our body monitors the level of glucose or sugar in the blood to ensure it does not exceed certain critical values. As soon as the sugar level rises sharply, the pancreas immediately starts producing the hormone insulin, which converts the excess and stores it as fat. Additionally, insulin prevents the body from using existing fats for its needs. So, what causes our sugar levels to spike suddenly and sharply? It's because of the sweets. The fact is that all carbohydrates can be conditionally divided into simple and complex ones, or into carbohydrates with high and low glycemic indexes. All simple carbohydrates lead to a sharp spike in blood, sugar, a surge of insulin, and fat storage. This is the first reason. And block the processing of the fat already in our bodies, which is the second reason. In fact, this blocks the weight loss process. The takeaway here is that nothing good will come from sweets and pastries, and even a tiny piece of candy can slow down the weight loss process for a long time. To summarize, simple carbohydrates are those with a high glycemic index. This includes all sweets and baked goods, which we'll have to cut out if we want to lose weight. But what about grains? Durum wheat pasta and various grains. We should eat them and certainly not avoid them. It's through these foods that our body must gain energy and glucose. As soon as glucose levels fall below a certain threshold, metabolism slows down. The only difference is when to eat them. Nature has designed our bodies so that all metabolic processes slow down at night. At night, our pulse slows, breathing becomes less frequent, and there's minimal need to move. Therefore, eating carbohydrates before bed keeps blood sugar levels elevated throughout the night, which again hinders the fat loss process. However, if blood sugar drops at night, it won't cause any harm, as metabolic processes naturally slow down during this time. So, here's the takeaway. The necessary amount of carbohydrates should be consumed about 3 hours before going to bed. Now, what about proteins and fats? Proteins are our building blocks. While you're not training, I don't recommend eating more than 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. Fats are simpler. We need fats, but not that much. About 0.5 grams of polyunsaturated fats per kilogram of body weight. These are fats that contain omega-3, omega-6 fatty acids, fish oil, flaxseed oil. They are necessary for the work of the endocrine system in order to prevent hair and nails from spoiling. These are fish oil and flax oil, but animal fats, lard, and butter are excluded. This leads us to the question of fiber intake and how much water we need. You can and should drink plenty of water, but don't confuse it with sugar solutions, compotes, juices, teas, or coffee. It's plain still water that counts. Water significantly aids in boosting metabolism. Fiber-rich foods like broccoli and cauliflower are also very beneficial. They increase intestinal peristalsis and help cleanse the body. So that's pretty much it. Now let me tell you, in a nutshell, how I lost weight from 286 pounds to about 176 pounds over 4 months before I started hitting the gym and rebuilding my body. Eating every 3 hours was key. That's the important thing. I excluded all sweets, except for 1 day a week, when I allowed myself a sweet meal. Due to my busy schedule, I didn't track my exact calorie intake. In one meal, I portioned about the size of 2 packs of cigarettes. This is the wrong approach, but it worked for me. I consumed carbohydrates in the first half of the day and switched to protein with fiber in the evening. I didn't eat anything before bed. The meat is low fat and only boiled. It's complicated? No. Something new? No. As I mentioned in the very first video, I'll be sharing my training routine and nutrition plan with you. However, the key to success goes beyond surface-level advice like what to eat or avoid or which exercises to do. All these things have been known for a long time, and especially for beginners, they are not new, and no new techniques exist. Now, I already foresee a million questions and doubts. I have heard them more than once. Come on, it's nonsense. It can't be. But they told me. But I have a friend, and that's nothing like that. And therefore, before we continue to talk about specifics, about how to count the number of calories, how to organize a quick meal 5 times a day, and not lose your way, or whatever, at home to pump your abs or biceps. I'm sure in order for you to have a result, I have to devote some time dispelling myths and tearing off the covers of how and why the industry of quackery and magic products is flourishing so much, and how they deliberately lead us astray, deliberately distorting information. And now we will form task number 2. Start eating every 3 hours. You need to form this at the level of your habit. Don't count calories yet. Don't count the composition of the food. Eat your favorite food, but do it in fractions. The main thing is to stay on the channel, and you will see that no diets are needed. I promise that each of you has more than enough willpower, and that the quality of life will only improve, and all the discomfort will be only temporary. And there's nothing terrible about it, because a little discomfort is always a part of our lives. This is exactly what I have to tell you before I start telling you the recipes. And so subscribe to the channel, put likes or dislikes, tell your friends. Together, it's always more fun. I look forward to your comments and questions on my website, freshlife28.ru. Basilio was with you, and now bye-bye. And now the announcement for next week. First, how does your new beautiful body differ from the latest iPhone model, or a diet after which the weight does not return? The secret of your girlfriend, who can eat cakes at a corporate party and not get fat, and the secret of your grandfather, who drank alcohol, smoked, drank moonshine, ate barbecue at night, and lived to be 90 years old, and was slim. How do they sell us magic remedies? Or hello again to the template from the consumer society.